My name is David Ovando with MowerMan Lawn Service.
There we go. Yeah, we're live now.
Awesome.
So welcome everyone that has joined us for another ECHOMeansBusiness interview. Today we've got the one and only MowerMan, David Ovando. David is one of the original OG UAG members who started with our program at the beginning of 2017. My name is Sam Fiorella. I am with Sensei Marketing. I'm one of the managers of the ECHOMeansBusiness online community and user advisory group. So let's just jump right into it. I wanted to talk to David today because we wanted to focus on branding. And there are very few people in our group that understand this concept and have deployed it better than David himself. So I'm going to switch it over. David, I'm going to ask you to reintroduce yourself, please. And once you do that, is going to be, how did the whole branding around MowerMan start?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I love this opportunity to share my experience and everything that I've accomplished. And hopefully my experience can be shared with the community, and the community can see what they can do to improve their opportunities. So it literally, the whole branding thing happened by accident. I've been in business for about 8 years, and for those 8 years, for most of it, I had just a Vistaprint logo that I used off of Vistaprint, and it was just a guy with a weed eater, and I didn't really think of really exploding the business. I just wanted to get work just to get ahead. When I started just to make $600 for rent, and then 4 or 5 months it exploded to $6,000 and $7,000, and I was like, wow, this is like something that could really be very profitable. I can be my own boss. I can grow the company to something more, and so that kind of started it a little bit, but it didn't really take effect until I started getting more serious about it. During the time that I was in Arkansas, where I first started, that was like the beginning stages of my company. And then from there, I was like, I want to do this year round. So I did research, and I went to San Diego, California to do the year round market there. But what I didn't think is I started out in the country where everyone is, out servicing properties, and I was going to the big city doing the same thing. And I thought basically the markets wouldn't be a big deal, but me, trying to make a wise choice, it wasn't a wise choice. I went out to San Diego, was there for 2 years, and I got lucky to even make $2,000 in the 2 years that I was there. So then I was like, okay, I'm basically out of business. I have to do something and step up my game. Did research again, and McKinney, Texas came out to be the #1 city to live in and have a small business, 2015. So I move out here, and from the moment I come here, I was like, awesome. This is the mix of San Diego, California and Arkansas in one. You have the climate of California, and then you have basically the country aspect of Arkansas, where I first started. And we're literally 400 miles south of when I started, And with that being said, I started getting a little more serious with marketing. I put out more flyers than I used to, but then I noticed, I was getting some return, but not the return that I wanted. So I sat down, basically had a conversation with my wife, and I was like, you know what? I don't think this Vistaprint logo is going to take us anywhere. So I took the love that I have for mowers, and I was like, why don't I just have someone create a logo of myself sitting, on the mower, and it just happened to be Gravely Mowers, and see where that takes us. So I started with that, and to launch the whole idea of I have a new logo, I printed 100 stickers that I tried to sell some of them, and then I also gave some away just to get, some of the suspense on social media. And it did. It brought suspense to the world of MowerMan, which I was like, well, I don't know if I should change the name of the company or what's going to happen with it. So I went into doing that, and then I started posting more pictures of my work on Instagram. And then from posting pictures on Instagram, it just blew up. So then I started reaching out to companies. Hey, could you guys, sponsor some hats and shirts to give away? I'd love to demo out your equipment. The first company that I worked with was Y Bravo. They're not a very big mower company. They make a 21 and a 25, and that's the only mowers they make. And I demoed their equipment. I didn't do a product review because I didn't really even understand how to even get into that aspect. But I shared my experience, which ended up turning into a product review on an Instagram post. So that kind of started the whole product review world at the same part with the branding. And then I just kept putting more pictures of my work, and then with the new logo, and then I started snowballing into more companies wanting to work with me, which, I was like, wow, this is really crazy. And at the same time, I'm working, trying to see where this world's going to take me. But then I think back and I'm like, it was just a logo change. So I reflect on the year of what has happened, and I'm just like, okay, so it had to have been because of this logo. And I go back to ask the different companies I work with, what attracted you to sit there and give me those opportunities? Did I do something different that these other companies aren't doing? And it says, yes, you're putting yourself out there in a way that other people aren't doing it. And you've kind of created this little mini brand that, if taken care of, could explode into something more. I'm like, I never thought of it as a corporate level, marketing thing. I just did it just to get ahead. And obviously it's working and it's been really cool. And I've shared my experiences with other landscapers that message me, and I tell them, you really have to make a brand around your company. You can't just be, so-and-so's lawn service. You can, it will work, but what drives you? Until you make, something that will show the world what drives you, then it's not going to go anywhere. The suspense of your company is not.
Let's talk about that. I want to ask a question about that, because I know you and I ran into. I had to track you down at this year's GIE. Stacy and I were like running all over the place saying, anybody see MowerMan? Anybody see MowerMan? Because you were like the hardest man to get a hold of there, because you were so busy talking to all of these different brands and all the people that are, you're doing demos for, or that you develop partnerships with, which was awesome. But, questions that I keep seeing of guys like you in some of the forums, and I know even on our forum at ECHOMeansBusiness, is, well, that's great that you've done all of this and that you're getting, some free swag, and that you're aiming for yourself, and that you've got lots of followers. But what does that actually do for your lawn care business? Like, yeah, it may get you a couple of bucks in YouTube advertising, and it might get you some free products, but does it actually help your lawn care business? Is that growing? So what are you trying to do with this brand, though? Is that the question?
Well, like everything that I have done, it has been trial and error. I didn't know what it could do. So like everyone, like I explained, I didn't start my business in Texas. I started my business in Arkansas, went to San Diego, and this is kind of like the last resort, and see what turns of it. And we've had a lot of success. So it's literally been 3 or 4 weeks that I have launched my Google listing. I've started asking customers to start doing reviews on there, and then doing research how all this works. It goes back to SEO. How many clicks is your name or your website getting? So when you're asking me, so how is social media helping me, on the real world side, which is business, me making actual money, is, well, magically, I guess it's helping my SEO, because my name's being clicked on. my branding's, standing out, and it's going straight back to my website. And now it's all merging together on Google, the first time ever in the history of my business. I've never had a Google listing. I've never felt comfortable enough to think I need a Google listing. So I do feel confident enough now because I've gotten the confidence from the community, from manufacturers that have believed in me, have given me special opportunities to do product reviews, and it's pushing me forward in a way that, I'm almost into tears because I'm so happy that it's been so successful. I've been asking different website builders known in the community, like Brian Ring and Nick Saints, what do I need to do to better my website? What can I do without having you make me the website? So they've given me pointers. One of the most recent things that I found basically by accident, a company asked me to go visit their dealer, so I did. But to get their address, I had to Google it. So I Googled their address, and I noticed something that other people's Google listing doesn't have, which is the Facebook other reviews to other sites, which it showed Facebook. And I was like, well, if I could bring my Facebook reviews to Google, I would shoot to #1 almost overnight, and everyone in this community that I work for will be like, where did you come from? You just like appeared out of nowhere. So I went back to these guys and asked them, hey, how do you do this? I got response from a couple of them, and they said, well, I'm not real sure. They weren't unsure of how to do it either, because then I researched the websites that they have built for other companies, and I Googled their businesses. Their businesses did not have the Facebook reviews on their Google listing. So then I did my own research, went back to Google, and I researched, how do you add this feature or go into settings and make this work? So it's something that's new to the world. I think it was launched at the beginning of this year, that they were adding reviews from other sites like Thumbtack, Home Advisor, and Facebook. And that's when I was like, okay, so what do you do with that? So it happens automatically. So Google does research, their own research on the web. What is similar? So the reason it hasn't matched with other companies of these website builders is because they're not having the same name on their social media platform and the website. Until they're the same, they say, okay, this is the same business as this, and they link them. But because of the branding from the beginning, that basically trial and error, and I did it all by, let's see what this does, let's see what this is. Now everything on social media is merging together on my Google listing. As soon as I started getting reviews on Facebook, everything just linked. So it happened 2 days ago. It popped up, and I was like, look, honey, our Facebook reviews had rolled over into Google. So now I think I was, if you looked up lawn service in my area, I used to be number 13. I think it's now number 7. So it's already jumping. And I know by the time spring hits, I should be close to #1 or #1. And it all happened from me doing social media, me making a website, me branding my company, and doing what I can with what I have. I don't have to spend $1,000 on a website.
That's a pretty awesome story, and I think it's one that's really good for the community that we're building here on ECHOMeansBusiness, because I know guys and women that are sharing those same types of stories. And I'm really interested in doing this, but is it a waste of time? I'd rather be focusing on mowing and trimming and felling trees than building my own personal brand through a YouTube channel. But I think you made some really good points there. That #1, that social channel that you're building, if you're linking that and driving that traffic back to your website, that will help drive your site up in terms of Google searches, even in your area. which will help you drive more business, even though your YouTube channel, for example, or your Instagram channel might be talking to other landscapers. That traffic back can help. And getting those Google profiles, Google reviews, and now, as you said, adding Facebook reviews onto your site makes a big difference. So thanks for those tips. That's fantastic. I really appreciate you sharing your story. I do want to stick with one for today's interview. I want to talk maybe a little bit more personal. The one thing, again, I mentioned earlier that you and I had a quick chat at GIE this year, and I know that you had family and kids in tow. And you and I have spent a couple of conversations talking about how busy you are, not just at events like that, but even day to day. Your wife works, you've got a busy career. How do you manage that? How does somebody, especially over the summer, when landscapers and arborists are typically incredibly busy, how do you find balancing that work-life thing for you?
So,
and how do you manage it?
We have 2 calendars. She has her dry erase marker or a board with all her schedules, and then I have mine separate, because if you were to merge our schedules together on the same schedule board, it wouldn't work, because mine has jobs that make money, and then my wife's has family stuff like baseball, meetings at school, things that we do with the kids, things that we want to do, like go to Six Flags. So we have to kind of plan ahead. Okay, this month, what are we gonna do this week? Even down to what are we gonna have for dinner? We go shopping for specifically everything that we're gonna have that month. We meal prep. And so my wife works 60 hours a week. She sells cars at Toyota of McKinney. And so I'm Mr. Mom basically 100% of the time. So I have to be able to do that. And those meal preps and me making my schedule ahead of time, for the month really helps me get ahead. So when I get a customer, I tell them, this is your schedule. If you want to change it, you have to tell me at the beginning of the week. Because if you tell me the day before, can we reschedule for like next week? It won't work. Because at the same time, I have to continue to keep growing my company. So a new customer calls and says, can you service my property? I have to say yes every time. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm too busy, because then I lose that opportunity that could be $2,000 or $3,000 for the season. And I'm not willing to do that. So I tell customers, yes, what is your address? I will go give you an estimate in the next, 24 hours. Or, let me finish this job up and I'll go do it. So scheduling, a lot of people just randomly wing it, and you can't just wing it. You have to schedule your days, what you need to do, and even set goals. This month, this is the goal that I want to set. This is what I want to do. Profit-wise, this is what I want to meet. And basically, this goes down to goal setting. So you set goals each month, whether it's, for your family. I want to teach my son how to play baseball better. So I set time aside, like, okay, we're going to go hit on these 3 days after school. Even though I have, mowing, I have to get my jobs done in time so I can go do that with my son. So my family comes first, but then comes the business. And then social media wise, what I do is I try to do 2 posts a day during the prime season, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. If I don't get to it, I'll probably, try to do them, before I go to bed. That way it's the first thing people see when they wake up, it has the same effect.
So any regrets in starting your own business?
No, not really. The one thing that I would have done different is get into more assist mowers. My first 2 years, I was running Troy-Bilt push mowers without assist. It used to take me all day, basically almost 8 hours to do 6 jobs. And now I'm close to even doubling that here, because I've gone to more productive equipment and equipment that's commercial. So I would have, I guess in the beginning, looked for saving up a little bit of the money that I had aside to invest into like a used Assist 21-inch push mower. And now you're being able to find now is the productive 30-inch mower, whether it's the Time Master or the Turf Master. Now you can get the commercial model, you can get a used one for $600 instead of you investing in a 21 that people are going to ask for $800, because the 21 will sell faster than the 30, so they've had to drop down the price because of the used cost.
Yeah, well, that's some really good advice. So again, thanks for joining us. That's David Ovando, MowerMan. For those of you that don't know who he is, check him out. The links will be in the article here. Follow him. And as you said, he's always talking to guys. Who's one of our new UAG guys. I'm glad to see the cooperation that's happening with you and within this community. And we look forward to that growing and keeping going. So until next time, everybody, have a good day. Watch next month for another interview of one of our UAG members.